Annual regular show, Speaking Moistly. With me, as usual, is Greg. Hello, sir. How are you today?
Wow, did we do two in a row? Two weeks in a row.
This might actually be
Holy
a second
smokes.
week in a row. Yeah. Yep. Pretty
That's
wild
wild.
stuff. Yeah.
That's
It's
wild.
it's there's no shortage of crazy, crazy things happening in the sphere of politics and the sphere of like not even politics. It's just crazy announcement after crazy announcement. Epstein, who's that?
Yeah. And I think that I may have mentioned it last episode, but there really does seem right now this sort of hollowness to sort of like right wing leadership in America and also Canada.
Yep.
Ever since Polyev lost, there's this sort of like, weekend at Bernie's type energy where people are trying to be like, hey, like look at this guy, isn't he great? And then
Yeah.
even with like Maxime Bernier, it's like, isn't he great? It's like,
The
where's
rhetoric.
where's the energy? Where's the motion? Where's the
Yeah.
excitement? Where's the like the thing? Like, because right now it feels like there's nothing going on. There's not really much going on. That's too exciting.
Well,
Other than
there's
other than taking like something that Danielle Smith might say or something that Pierre Polyev might say, and just like milking it, just trying to milk it for everything it's worth and derive as much hope as
yeah.
we can out of these little tiny comments.
Yeah, it's like, did you see the twitch of his eyebrow? The twitch of his eyebrow means that he's going to really deport people, like a lot of people. It's like bullshit. No. And I totally agree with you. The situation we find ourselves in, I'm not even sure Polyev's going to win the election because that would be a really easy way to just get rid of him. No need to wait for the leadership review, right? He loses the election and then he can't stay leader of the Conservative Party. Andrew Scheer retains leadership again, and bingo, bango, bongo, they've got a majority without the NDP, who's
What
collapsing.
what Canada wants, what people want out of the Conservative Party is a young white guy who's actually firm against immigration, like really firm, really strong.
I don't
Am
think
I
that
wrong? I feel like people would love that.
I don't think that there's any way that the Conservative Party of Canada can be involved in fixing what's going on because the party itself is beholden to supply management, for one example. I think
Mhm.
Andrew Scheer famously got on stage right after he won leadership from Maxime Bernier, wasn't it? And then he drank that 2 liter carton of milk, right? And everybody was all he
Yeah,
did
like
was
a
pull out.
whore.
Yeah, all he did was pull out a carton
Yeah,
of
oh
milk and
man.
drink it on stage,
Yeah,
and
that's
everybody in
crazy.
the audience just started clapping. And I was like, "What does that mean?" And then they found the
That's gross.
binder. So, like,
Yeah.
when you talk about what people in Canada want, I wish that we had what I want personally is an honest conversation about the state of our politics because it seems like, and
Ah!
this is true, but this is true in England too and Australia. It seems like the politicians have got a real plum gig. They get drivers, they get a pretty good salary, they get to vote themselves increase in wage and all this stuff. They get all
Mhm.
sorts of stuff. They have to do a little bit of tap dancing, but they own the press, so it's a little bit of they know what they're going to be asked. You know what I mean? Like it's a show. So they have to put on
Yep.
this show. They're kind of famous, but some of them like that, Justin Trudeau. And so that class of people who we pay to put there versus the taxpayers. Like it doesn't seem like if I was looking at England, not even Canada, but I think this applies to Canada. I would say, why does the people that they keep sending to the House of Lords hate them so much? Why do the parliamentarians we send to the House of Commons hate us so much? Why do they hate us so? I don't understand. And the only obvious, the obvious reason is because they don't work for us. They're not representing us, right? Like, and so
Yeah.
when I wish that we could have that conversation and like then realize that these people don't represent us in any way whatsoever, and then fix that problem because that's the real that's the 10xer.
And Canada, America, and Australia specifically have like such an opportunity to really be diligent and proactive and do the right thing because we've already seen the failures in the UK and across Europe. We've seen the kind of the exact same pattern across the board. The same thing happens. The center right parties say the right things, say the things that people want to hear. Oh, we will deport people. We will stop mass immigration. And then they get the mainstream support because they're kind of the center right. And then they get into power and then they don't do that. And then they actually don't do that. They actually
Trump.
don't stop mass immigration. This has happened across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that this is the play and we can like ourselves in Canada, Australia, and America can try to rectify this, or at least like try to get ahead of this really annoying pattern here.
It is quite annoying.
It's super annoying. And the thing is, that's the one issue where for some reason it's like we just can't stop mass immigration, no matter how big the political will is, no matter how big the will of the people is. Some reason there's always like these fake conservatives there to drop the ball again.
Starmer got in on the promise of stopping the boats, right? And retaining and restoring the sovereignty of England and restoring their control of the borders and things like that. And when he got there, then he said, we're going to 1 in, 1 out. And then it ended up being 17 in, 1 out. And then it ended up being 17 in and never mind the out. And so like, it's crazy.
Right. And then in Italy, what's her name? Giorgia Meloni.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be a fascist. She was supposed to be this far right character. She had some similar promises of whatever it was, stopping the boats or stopping the immigration. And that didn't happen either.
I honestly think the reason that when they get into office, they reverse course so much and they don't tell us is because they get told how bad things would be fiscally. Like they get brought into a room, and I've told this story before. They get brought into a room and get told, Madam Blah, here's the breakdown of our finances with this many migrants. Here's the breakdown of our finances without that many people. And it's a disaster, right? Like the second one's a disaster. And like to the point, and they're believable. I don't know if they're accurate. I would think so, because the powers that be tried to take down economically the United States, and Donald Trump seemed to stop that with the Iran thing and blah, 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 blah. So genuinely, I think that they've got mechanisms to punish countries that dare to stand up to them. And, I transferred some money today at the bank. Okay. I transferred some money and I got a notification saying that the bank transfer didn't go through. And I was like, why didn't the bank transfer go through? Like, what the heck? And so I called them up and they said, oh, the email address that you used has been flagged in fraud. You might lose your money. And I was like, I don't think so. It's cool. Guaranteed. Go ahead. Like, do this. And then he said, okay, well, just making sure you're taking all the risk here. We don't have any liability for this. If you lose your money, that's on you. And I was like, yeah, man, approved. Put it through. Like I said before, click, like go. But like, that's the kind of thing, right? They'll scare the shit out of you and then be like, here's this get out of jail free card for free, and your economy doesn't blow up. You just get hated. Just get hated by your citizens, right? But if they only knew, and you can't tell them because it's national security.
Well, I think that's an interesting topic nonetheless, which is, and I think I brought this up last time, like what actually happens behind the scenes. Who's actually in the ear of these politicians, how much discussions actually go on in these back shady rooms, where do the decisions actually, when and where and how are the decisions actually made? How are these politicians massaged by different people? Who's in their ear? What incentives do they truly have?
Right. That's the crux of it. Like you're talking about exactly what I'm kind of referring to when I say they don't work for us. Like, and then sorry, who's paying them off? Who's doing all that? Who's saying, here's the problem. We don't know how much money people are spending. We don't know where they're spending it. That's a problem for us. And here's the solution. Who's saying that to these people? Because like, they don't have any right to look into all of that into like on a grand scale, right? Like we have protections that should be. So like, there are people who are undermining the relationship that should exist between citizens and their government. And I think that fundamentally it's our error to believe that because we pay the government, they work for us. We may pay them, but they've been sending our money to Ukraine forever. Who do they work for?
Yeah. And, it could be an incentive of like, hey, we'll give you this big lump sum of money through some sort of under the table bribe if you do X, Y, Z. Or it's like, hey, here's a video of you blackout drunk naked with minors on Epstein Island. You probably don't want us to post that publicly, do you? Right. Yeah, you're going to listen to us now. We own you now, right. Which I think is why this Epstein stuff can't see the light of day. And I think that everyone is kind of implicated. Democrats, Republicans are all implicated. And I think what we're seeing now on that topic is like the slow sort of fake accountability. I hate this stuff. We see so much of it. We've seen a lot of it since COVID. Actually, let's look at what actually happened during COVID and we're going to try to win back our credibility as a news organization or as a politician or whatever, because now it's so clear that there's all this damage done. We're not really going to actually tell the truth of how horribly corrupt and evil we are, but we're going to do this kind of little song and dance where we talk about it, and we're going to give you a few breadcrumbs, and we're going to feel like we actually talked about it when in reality, nothing has changed.
Yeah, they talk around. They talk around it. They talk about the fact that it might exist, but they're not really sure if it does exist. And aren't those people crazy who talk about it as if it does exist? Let's move on.
And I feel bad because, understandably, when Trump came around in 2016, he reinvigorated the sense of American nationalism in general across the world. Build a wall, make America like this. This really resonated with people, and to this day has created a lot of momentum for nationalism. And a lot of people put a lot of faith in this guy, including myself. But with this kind of last blunder, especially, it's like, damn. And I see a lot of people really struggling to, like, they're coping. They're like, no. They know this is, maybe it's part of the 5D chess and And it's like, guys, he's been swallowed by the swamp. He's been, there's got to be some sci-fi analogy that's really good here where like he gets infected and like becomes one of them or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's not good.
It's very interesting. Like, certainly I don't like the fact that the Epstein list is, but I mean, we've talked before about how I feel that they couldn't release a list because that's going to destroy the life of everybody on it, regardless of the veracity of whether or not. And we don't have chain of custody for the quote unquote list. So like it's gone through how many directors of the FBI?
Imagine they did something crazy where they released the list and it's like, it was all the J6 Patriots who were at Epstein.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. They knew Epstein. Yeah,
exactly.
And then, well, right. And I mean, who's to say that didn't happen? So the only legit way to release a list, in my opinion, is Pam Bondi comes out and they say they make 10 arrests or say they make 100 arrests, and they say, listen, these arrests are as a result of investigations started on Epstein's list that led to, criminal activity found and so on and so forth. So that's a plausible story that I think the public would definitely buy. There was no list, nothing. He did nothing wrong. I can't believe Epstein. Why are you even talking about Epstein? It's insulting that they'd even try it. You know what I mean? Like, I would much rather they came out and said, like they did with the drones. The drones are ours. Next question. We got them, everyone. Mission successful. Yeah. But they were just like, F you. And everybody went, what? Are you kidding?
I feel like Mark Carney would actually be really great at this. Like, this is something he's really good at with his just the way he kind of holds himself at the podium. He'd be like, yeah, we go to Epstein Island and sometimes we have sex with kids, and that's kind of what we do. But moving on, what's the problem? What's the next issue? I'm really focused on the economy. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what did you just admit to being a pedophile? Okay. I mean, it's like, these are not the drones you're looking for. It's like, yeah, we have sex with kids on Epstein Island, and that's what we do to blackmail powerful people. Well, it's just normal things. It's just normal business. As I'm a globalist, so that's what we do.
Before the whole election, it is well known that Carney's wife and Carney himself were in a contact book for Epstein, right? Is that incorrect? Because his wife,
my point is it's no big deal, Mark.
Well, right.
Carney is telling us not to worry about it. He he can just come clean and be like, yeah, I'm a pedophile on Epstein Island, and that's all he needs to know about. No, but sorry, go ahead.
Also it's just one of those things that it seems to be so broad and so widely accepted. Like, that wasn't even a question in the Canadian election. You know what I mean? There wasn't. And if somebody did question it, I don't know if I got blocked by news people for pointing it out, but it was pointed out to me, right? It was pointed out to me that Trump has images with Epstein. And I was like, okay, fair point.
Well, and this reminds me of like another reason why I just have like so little patience for like the right wing in Canada, because with Trump in 2016 and the energy they had over there with MAGA, it was like, Obama's not even a citizen. Like, they had like the QAnon stuff. They had, talking about Pizzagate, talking about the Hillary Clinton emails, the Podesta stuff. Where the hell was, hey, it would have been beautiful to have Pierre Poilievre alluding to, with a clever comment, alluding to Trudeau being a bastard child of, of Fidel Castro? Like, do you know how crazy
Well, but
those
all
clips would
even,
go? Do you know how hard that would go? Do you know how effective that would
but he
be
wouldn't
if it
he
was
wouldn't do it though.
constructed the right way?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, because he's
but
not
there.
trying to win, right? He's
Well,
not
but it's
trying
not.
to actually win and,
Yeah, no, that's
change the
true.
paradigm of the country. He's not trying to save
Yeah.
the country. He's trying to be the next pig at the establishment pig at the trough.
Yeah, he was trying to move over enough to the right to be acceptable to the right wings and to be acceptable to the people who got disaffected with Trudeau. And it failed, obviously. And I mean, but further than that, I think that the establishment owns both sides, and it's effective for them to have these arguments. And they know that it doesn't matter who wins and loses because the policies of the globalist really is what's getting pushed forward. And we are losing, same way the United Kingdom is losing. They're losing their culture. They're losing their ability to control their country. It may have already lost.
Yeah.
That may have already happened. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's such an obvious example of like all the things you hear about in terms of the uniparty or manufactured consent. I forget the name of the guy who wrote that book, but manufactured consent is. Can you think of his name? I should know this. It's one of those guys. Peterson talks about him a lot, I think.
no, I've not. No, sorry, man.
Anyway, so manufactured. Thank you for the person in the comments who's probably writing it right now.
Yeah,
but he wrote the book Manufactured Consent, and so it's the whole idea that the debate is already decided upon. Like the decision and kind of like the framework of what you're allowed to think about is already decided upon beforehand. And then you kind of see this WWE, this kind of fake back and forth. We saw this in 2021 where vaccine mandates and vaccine passports was not even a debate topic on the debate stage in 2021, which was the fall before the convoy, by the way.
Immigration wasn't in 2025. Like
that was going to be my next thing. Yeah. Like it's the topic that the majority of the country wants less immigrants, and they're not even debating it, like seriously debating it. Like this is a joke, folks.
Not only are they not seriously debating it, they agree broadly on what's going on. And I think because they've all been ushered into that room and they've been told, gentlemen, look at the slide 1. This is with those people. Slide 2, without those people. And everybody, and not just that, also if you don't do it, we say, we're going to destroy your lives.
Yeah, I feel like they don't even have to do the first part.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
You know what I mean?
You get a package in the mail that says, we could be very threatening, but we don't really have to be.
Like I feel like if you went into one of these smoky back rooms and you're like, here, I have a slideshow of why this is economically not good.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, like we actually care about that shit. Like, what's in it for me, buddy?
Yeah.
Am I getting a blowjob, a swimming pool, or what? Like, speak my language here. I don't care about the economy. Kickbacks. Like, just tell me the kickbacks.
But I think that also there's onboarding for freshman MPs who want to make a difference and things like that. And I think that it's more like you walk into a room that's structured like a lecture, and the lecture informs people of the economic reality of the country. And the economic reality of the country is we're completely bankrupt. We're loaded in debt. We're up to our eyeballs in debt, and it's a complete Ponzi scheme. And if we stop bringing in people, and those people who aren't coming in stop buying houses and cars and all of the things they need to set up their house at the same level, the whole economy collapses. Like they can't turn it off and that's just a lie they're telling, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like you could fix this problem, but they don't want the people in that chamber to actually discuss the solutions. They want them caught in wizard circles doing absolutely nothing for hours on end, which is exactly what our House of Commons does.
I know you have to go soon, but did we want to go on to another topic? What else did you want to talk about today?
Did we talk about Epstein and Trump a little bit? I guess the flooding everywhere. Have you been paying attention? Did you see the story of like the New York subway flooding?
I heard a little bit about it.
I was saying on my show, as I was watching, there was video footage of people standing on trains and the subway station that they're in, like filling up with water. And I was like, can the train even go? If the train can go, like go train, go. Like, what do you do? Because I've been on the New York subway and you get onto a bridge relatively fast. You know what I mean? Like it's not that far before you're out of there. So man, I was like,
no. Because I know a lot of more sometimes right-wing people can be like, you got to get out of the cities. The cities are horrible, and It's true. I live in Toronto, and it's getting pretty rough and tumble down here in
Yeah,
terms
buddy.
of there's always construction. There's more and more people. There is more and more crime. It's people are not happy. People seem to be less what's the word? Vibing with one another. I mean, you can find
Yeah.
it here and there. It's not
Yeah.
that bad, but it's also not great. But at the same time, it's like it sounds like such an adventure to live in New York City. You know, like it sounds like it really
Have you?
does sound like a concrete jungle
Yeah. Have you ever been
where
to New York?
like, only the one time. I
All
only
right.
visited for like a weekend the one time.
Okay.
But it's I remember thinking, thank God I don't drink alcohol anymore. What a nightmare it would be to like get drunk in this like
It's
huge
expensive.
city.
Yeah.
Just like, but it's just I don't know. Just it's very, very spooky. For some reason that came to mind. I'm like, I'm glad I don't drink alcohol anymore.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not going to be a degenerate in these streets.
Yeah.
You
Well,
get lost.
New York
Get
and
lost in here easily.
New York and Toronto. I think New York is orders of magnitude bigger than Toronto, right? Like I think that there's, but there's a lot of similarities.
Big time.
Dublin and Toronto are almost identical. Have you ever been to Dublin?
No,
They have
no.
they
in
have
terms of size, you mean?
no, just the feeling of the city. It feels like you're in Toronto now, which is weird because it shouldn't feel like that because Toronto's got all those firkins, right? Like it's one of those. Toronto's very Irish. No, it's one of those. It's one of those things. They have they have the Guinness. What's it called? The Guinness Brewery, which is now basically just a museum to go through, and it's fun. Like that's a very Dublin-y thing to do. But it is all of the major cities like that, those major population centers, London, New York, Toronto, Dublin, all of these major cities, capital cities almost, have the same shops. You know what I mean? Like Dublin had Tim Hortons, right? We've got Firkins, right? Like it's the same kind of feel. And they had a Chinatown in Dublin. They had an LRT. We were on the LRT. It was not very efficient. And I said, the problems with the LRT here are exactly what the problems with the LRT would be there, like in Canada. And it's true. In Waterloo, they've got an LRT. So it's just interesting how what used to be, I went to England when I was a kid a lot, right? Like my mom is from England and she's still a citizen. She's a permanent resident of Canada, but she's a citizen of the UK still as well. So we would go back every year and forever, like I stopped really going back a lot in 1999 because just, my life changed and, my mom started going by herself and whatever. So, but since then, England has changed drastically. Like the place that I remember doesn't exist anymore. And that's true in Canada too. You know what I mean? Like the Toronto-ness of Toronto from 1999 doesn't exist. Like you look at video.
White people.
Yeah, but it's not just that. I mean, it's not the demographic shift is you can see it and it's crazy. And the same thing is happening in Dublin as well, and other places. But
just on this point, real quick, even like left wing people or apolitical people, they pick up on this vibe too, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't know, I just feel like moving out of the city, and like it just feels like nicer out of the city." And it's like,
yeah, man.
Because there's more white people out of the city. Like they would never consciously admit that, but they're like, yeah, I don't know. There's just like a certain vibe that I'm not like vibing with anymore. And it's like,
see, I don't want to live around anyone. I want to have legal gun storage on my property within 2 steps, like I'm ready to go. And then an acre, 10 acres, 150 acres of property and a big fence and maybe a moat, possibly a moat.
See, I'm of the mentality that, sure, if you can do that, if you can live off the land, that's great, fantastic. But for me, it's like
Doug and Stacey.
I want to go into the trenches of this, culture war, of this like battle against globalism, and they happen in the city centers. They happen in the flooded New York City subways, just swimming upstream to try and whatever. But
to try and escape the flood, we're reliving
Fall of Rome,
the Bolshevik takeover of the USSR. I think that's what's going on right now in the West. I think the West is being put through similar paces, and the communist, socialist, Bernie Sanders, AOC, NDP, who are bankrupt now, left are trying to foment that kind of control and power. I think that that's what they're trying to do. I think that they're trying, because like the majority of people, I think, support sanity and they want sane things and they want safety and not insane things. But these communists are communists and they see an opportunity, and so they drive the instability that they're driving to get enough people to seem like they're upset with the system, so they topple the system, even though majority of people don't want to topple the system. They like the system as it is. They want to leave the system alone. But these agitators are pushing and pushing and pushing, and it seems like everybody who wants it to stay the way it is doesn't care enough to stop them. And that's weird. And like, I think it's manufactured, because like if you do care enough, you get no views, you get silenced, you get no money, you get called a racist, you get called all sorts of things. So like, I understand why we haven't fomented a resistance to this whole thing, but like, it's weird to me that other people can't see what's going on, because it seems really real, like very clear to me.
Yeah, I've said this before, but it really does seem like the political apparatus or engaging in politics is kind of specifically designed to disincentivize people to actually engage in it, to actually kind of participate in it.
Yeah.
And I think there's many, many layers to that. Especially in Canada, they make Canadian politics seem so boring on the CBC. And like, there's like kind of this high bar to kind of get into it. And then when you kind of deal with any of these political parties, especially the big ones, it's like there's like gatekeeper after gatekeeper after gatekeeper after gatekeeper. It's like, talk about freedom. Like, you don't have any freedom as a freaking Conservative Party MP. You can't say, oh, you think you can just speak your mind and speak up for Canadian patriotism?
Yeah. So Michelle Rempel,
owners own you.
Years ago, when I started my show, I would engage with parliamentarians, and I still do. I call people out. I talk to them about things, and like I let them know what I think. And some are more gracious than others. Some engage, some don't. Whatever. I don't particularly care if they engage with me or not. But Michelle Rempel I was talking to her. This was back in 2018. Michelle Rempel, and she said something about temporary foreign workers. And I said something back to her, and she said, "Do you know what TFWs are?" And I was like, I don't understand the question. I was like, what? Because she didn't know if I understood the acronym, and she asked me by using the acronym. And I was like, you mean temporary foreign workers? Yes, I understand what temporary foreign workers are. Because I guess her tweet said something about TFW, and I went off on immigration or whatever. And she's like, do you know what TFWs are? And her point was that they were legal, et cetera, et cetera. And not that I was saying they were illegal. I was saying, my argument was basically that we're undercutting, and it doesn't matter. She blocked me while trying to browbeat me about not knowing what temporary foreign workers were, but I did know what they were. I still criticized the program, and she blocked me because I think she called me ignorant, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. I was like, you're ridiculous. Like, what? And I told her, engage with the meat, like engage with the idea of what I'm bringing to you. Don't cherry pick this thing off and then make fun of me for this little thing. That's not even really, that doesn't matter. Like, what?
Yeah. Anyway. And I've been saying this for years, but, you know, when I first joined politics, I remember thinking, okay, I was an urban professional in Toronto. You can meet really passionate, really smart Canadians who give a crap about the business they're working for. But then when I joined politics, I'm like, very little of that translates into the political world. Like, where are the passionate urban professionals who really care and are really smart and bright and passionate? Where are they in the political world? They're not there. It's filled with opportunists, scumbags, weasels, narcissists, opportunists, like all sorts of autists. I could go on and on.
I think there are a lot of people who are put up at other people's behest. Like, you go and do this, you'd be really great. And it's like a 17 or 19-year-old kid, like the trustees who get put up.
But I bring that all up to say it is the common denominator of what needs to happen. You know, even because a lot of the and I kind of want to rag on the Alberta independent people, and maybe they understand this, but you know, people who become 51st state under Trump, who doesn't care about Epstein anymore apparently, and under the guy who wants to deport anti-Semites. Anyway, that's another topic. Yeah. But it's like, you want to become the 51st state, you want to become an independent Alberta, as if that's going to solve your problem. Actually, if the wrong people are in charge, you're going to have the same problems. We need real, true leaders. We need people who are actually going to be working for us and are actually going to be able to navigate these waters of these weasels and these snakes in the grass, and be able to navigate that very effectively. I think it's not easy, but we need more of our people actually, getting into the political arena and winning and being supported and yeah, like going toe to toe with these with
Our system
corrupt
is
bureaucrats.
set up to make anybody who wants to genuinely fix things fail. And so like that's unfortunate. And the other part is I think that we have way too many MPPs. I think we have way too many representatives. Like think of the cost of that 343 people, blah blah blah. And what kind of value do they bring? They don't bring value. They irresponsibly spend money that is
Mhm.
not theirs. And so I think that we should pare that right down. I think that there should be no more than 10 ministers, period. Like 10 representatives.
I, I,
And like
I,
there's no reason to have any more. And people say, oh, representative, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit.
yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And when it comes to, hey, we need to make these changes, maybe it's electoral reform. Maybe you think Canada is a corporation. I know that's a popular one.
A lot
Here's
of
the
people do.
thing. If you think that Canada is a corporation, if you think we need all these changes, you need political power to change anything.
Mm-hmm.
You need, just because you're right, just because you have a
But how do
PDF
we-
that proves this or that,
Yeah.
you need to get the sort of political power to do that.
Yeah.
And you might say, oh, the system's corrupt, the system's corrupt. At the end of the day, even if there's an A bomb that drops tomorrow, okay, there's going to be these warring political factions who are warring over resources, power, and influence. So like this is always at play here.
Yeah.
And
How do you and this is not a question that we can answer, I think, right now, but I don't know how to deal with the fact that the elections are rigged in a realistic way, because it's not like we're playing a fair game. Even if you win, like look at Trump. Trump won 2020 and he lost it. So even if you win, you lose. They count until they have the winning configuration. So like I hear what you're saying and I agree with you. I just can't square the circle of you have to gain political power. We can't gain political power because the election's rigged. So there's only one option. And I reject
That's not true.
I reject it. I reject that, right?
Political
So-
power is not always just like voting and stuff. There's a lot more than that.
That's true.
Like for example, temporary foreign workers or the international students. These guys are not even citizens, and they are protesting. They are protesting, making a public demonstration, and in some cases, I think in Winnipeg, they actually like got them to change the rules somewhere in Manitoba, I believe.
Wow.
That is a show of force to change the rules of how things are dictated here. The trucker compo was another example, but this idea that like, oh no, we can only vote, that is totally not true. At the end of the day, politics is moving a large group of people in the same direction to the same end. Sometimes that happens at the ballot box, sure. Yeah. But like if it's demonstrations that are done publicly, if it's organizations that have very, very big mailing lists and all agree on the same thing, it's, for another example would be, it's frustrating to see all these foreign groups get pandered to. They get pandered to because they're really organized. These foreign groups get very organized as a, voting bloc. And then the Conservative Party bends over backwards for them. We need to do our own version of that as heritage or real Canadians, as white Canadians, if you will. And there's actually an organization that's coming out very soon that might be doing some of this stuff. That's pretty exciting. I'm not going to say anything more, but it's some former PPC people are involved, and it should be quite exciting.
Payment? Are you talking about payments thing?
No.
Okay. Well, there are other things that are happening too. Payment's doing People's Parliament, and they're examining bad laws, like in BC.
Oh, I think I followed that account. Yeah.
It popped up the other day, and they messaged me about it as well. And so talk about a great project. I wish them well. I hope they're impactful. All right, that seems like a good place to wrap it up. Greg, where can they find you, man?
You can go to gregwycliffe.com, and a link to all my social medias are there. Stay tuned for a documentary coming out, a trailer coming out later this month.
I can't
on
wait.
Free Speech. Yeah, should be good.
It's going to be as good as Tropic Thunder, at least.
Yeah. I still need to get that blackface shot of me, but we'll get it done for sure.
Yeah, I hope so. And you can check out CanadaPoly.com for my daily show, et cetera. And thanks for coming today, Greg. It's been fun. And thanks for watching today, everyone. And we'll see you next time.